Good morning, guys, and welcome to the Trish Lynn Show. We are an hour later than we were supposed to go on, but we had some difficulties on the other end. But here we are. And today we are talking about unlocking your psychic gifts. So this is going to be such a cool conversation because there's so many different views when it comes to these things. So I'm really excited to have this conversation, and here we are. Bring on our guest here, who is joining us from the other side of the fucking world. Again, the power of social media. I'm going to see what I can do to... Oh, she was here and now she's gone. What is happening? Social media. We also have a very rare supermoon tonight, and the energy is energying, and there we go, feeling all of the things. Powerful. Come on. I have accepted. I have done this twice, so let's see if we can get her on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? But we have the rare full supermoon tonight, so I'm like, the energy is energying. It's not a word, but I'm making it a word because there's so much happening right now. And it's kind of cool that we are having this conversation in the midst of this supermoon because there are so many pieces like on my end that are being opened up and unlocked, and I'm asking the questions and getting the fucking answers, and I'm like, whew, this is next level shit coming through. So good. So welcome to the Trish Lynn Show. I did grab an episode. You were on a show yesterday. You were on live yesterday, and from that I saw you're in India.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the power of social media and how many women that I'm getting to connect with from all over the world. It is amazing. So I would love for you to come on and introduce yourself to the audience, for everyone who is joining in, and for everyone who is joining in, give us some hearts, give us some likes, say hi, let us know that you are here. It does help boost the episode in the algorithm. But come on, share with us who you are, what you do, and then we can jump into unlocking your psychic gifts and having this conversation.
Hello. First of all, I'm so excited to share all of this intuitive gifts. And wow, introduction is just like I don't know where to start kind of thing because there's so much. I feel I am a student, the way that I would love to describe myself. I am a student, I am a seeker, I am on my journey, and I have discovered so much power and potential within me that I did not know exists. By the way, are you hearing an echo or is it just on my end?
It's a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Okay. So, so yes, I am a seeker. I have learned so many things. And in this process, somehow I call myself a transformation and empowerment coach because this has been my own journey of transforming my life from being a completely rational, in the box, straight A thinker, and now being this intuitive where I don't know where my ideas are coming from. I don't know where source, God, universe is guiding me towards. But I have developed this deep trust and deep knowing in this ability within myself to navigate all of this and also help others in navigating this so we can have a more wholesome, loving word and experience of life.
Yeah, I feel that on such a deep level of being able to trust what it is that you are here to do and moving forward with that even when you don't know what it looks like. It is such a next level trust that you not only have to have in yourself, but in what is unfolding. And it's not being inside of that traditional box of I'm going to go work a 9 to 5 where everything is secure and I know what's happening. It's a holy fuck, my life is being turned upside down. I'm forging this new path. I don't know where I'm going. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it and I'm trusting it as I go. And that's everything that's been bubbling up inside of me. And it's like, okay, I get to fucking do this. And we get to do this together, and it is so much fun. The more connections that I am making through the show, the more fun I'm honestly having in what it is I am doing and I am creating, because we're doing this together and we're getting to come together. And this is supposed to be on silent, yet here we are beeping away. So I'm going to fix that right now because it's bugging me. We can all hear the beeping, and I'm sorry. It's supposed to be not beeping at us.
It's the full moon, everything's allowed. It's just the energy.
Yeah, there we go. We're done. I would love to ask you, because in the topic of, psychic gifts, what does being psychic mean to you?
Wow, this is such a deep question because, when we go out, the word psychic is almost like this woman who has a lot of crystals and she's wearing bracelets and all this jewelry and she has a crystal ball and you have this backdrop that's kind of like spooky as well. Like that's the image that I grew up in, like of psychic. And I used to think about like these are gypsy people. I'm not a psychic. The way that I repelled just identifying with this word, like that was crazy for me. But when I truly understood behind the mask, behind the veil of what we are made to believe a psychic looks like, but versus what a psychic really is. A psychic is psychic has the word psyche, and psyche means our mind, right? How fascinating is that? Like psychic comes from the mind, but we are calling it something completely irrational. I find that really fascinating. But being a psychic is really being able to tune into your intuition. It's being able to understand something deeper than yourself and making decisions from that place, leading your life from that place. And it's not just about seeing the future. Like a lot of people say it like they can tell you the future, they can predict the future, but it's so much more than just the future. It's also for me, especially in my work with other people, it's also about seeing like, okay, where did this trauma emerge from in your life? Or what age were you? Or what guidance am I being shown for you or something that you really need to hear right now? And even for myself in my own journey, like what do I really need right now?
Yeah.
That is what tuning into that is what being a psychic really is for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's being able to open up to and trust your intuition. And you know what, when we ask the open, we can all really work our way through our own things ourselves by asking the right questions and allowing those pieces to come through and trusting that the answers are going to come through. And I love that because it is the same for me. It's about listening to what every day we are all being shown different things and different signs and guiding us along the path that is best suited for us, but we ignore it. And when you can open up to trusting it, that is when your intuition gets to kick in even more. And I share this a lot coming from a toxic relationship, and women who are listening and even men who are listening that have been in toxic relationships, you don't trust your intuition because you haven't trusted yourself for so long. So being able to actually step into and trust that guidance is such a difficult step. I'm going to read this question about what if that intuition feels scary and makes you anxious. Yeah,
That's a really good question.
it it does, because it's following a path that we're not used to following, and that is where that deep level of trust has to come in. The anxiousness, I have very high anxiety, and I've had to learn how to work with that and recognize, okay, like what is causing this anxiety? And it's going those deeper layers, like peeling back the onion, right? What is causing this? Why am I feeling this way that is causing me to feel this way? And is this true? Is this actually scary? Well, no, if you actually take that step back, what it is that is making you anxious and feel scary isn't scary. It's the thoughts and the beliefs that you are conditioned to believe this is scary. But in the end, it's neutral, right? And it's being able to come back to that neutral step to move through and start to actually trust your intuition to move through the pieces. I hope that answered the question. I am following it, but the trust part is missing. I am still trying to follow. It's that trust within yourself, right? And it is the hardest step. But, instead of looking at so far ahead, what is one baby step that you can take? And then another baby step that you can take that still gets you moving in that forward direction, but it's not to the point that it is so scary taking a massive leap, because you have to build up that trust within yourself. It has taken me quite a few years to rebuild that trust that I have within myself, to trust my intuition and to trust the splenic hits that I get. We were just talking quickly about human design. So for me, I'm a projector, and it is my intuition that guides me. And I have been told that whatever scares the shit out of me is the path that I am meant to follow. I'm like, of course it is. Why would it be any easier? But it's just learning, the baby steps, and learning to trust yourself again, learning how you move. The more personal development and self-development that you can do to learn about you helps make these little steps, I find, so much easier, because it's an acknowledgement of, okay, this is who I am, and it's okay to be me. If that makes sense. I know I went on a bit of a tangent there.
No, I completely love it. I especially love the part where you said like it's building those small steps. And what I would encourage our listeners who ask the question, what I am also hearing in your question is the word anxious, like it's screaming to me. So whenever you're feeling this way, ground yourself, take some deep breaths, and also tune in whether what you're hearing is your fear or the intuition, because I think those are two very similar and confusing states. And once you can come into the state of rest and fully grounded, you can discern like what is leading you right now. And then what I have found in my personal experience is when I'm really grounded, even the most difficult thing feels so right in my heart. Like it will make me cry in that moment, but I'll not feel more sure than I've left. I'll feel so sure about myself and this tough decision that I do remember my surrender moments. Like those were life changing. But you really have to sit down and be okay with the truth,
Yeah.
whatever's coming. And that in that moment, like the trust will automatically be there. But you have to be able to receive that in the safety of your
Everyone has a fear of stepping out of their comfort zone. We are human. Our nervous systems are designed to keep us comfortable. It likes being in that safe space of familiarity, and moving out of that comfort zone, you have to it's those baby steps to push and feel into the fear, but not let it control you. So getting out of your head and into the body, which the breath does. You can take a minute to pause and focus on box breathing is one of my favorite steps, especially for anxiety. Like panic attacks, I were big when I left my marriage. My anxiety was so high functioning that it would lead to panic attacks. And just being able to step into a simple box breath of breathing in for 4, holding at the top for 4, breathing out for 4, and holding at the bottom for 4, and repeating this 4, 5, 6 times until I felt my whole body just come into that sense of calm. And it teaches your nervous system that, hey, there is nothing scary going on. It is okay and it is safe. And in those moments when you feel that fear, step into that box breathing, because it is your nervous system signaling, hey, this isn't comfortable. What are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Let's get back into our comfort zone. No, we want to be pushed out of our comfort zone, but we have to train our bodies to feel safe in stepping out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I love that question. That piece, the voice of fear is different from your intuition, because it's your fear is your nervous system saying, hey, get the fuck back here. Like, we're not doing that. But your intuition is saying, yeah, this is what we need to do. So it's getting into that zone of, okay, like, we are safe, and let's push through the fear and do it anyways.
Yeah. whenever I have this fear voice, sometimes I think of it like it's my brain screaming tiger, tiger, tiger when
Yeah.
there's no tiger. And then I have to like scan my surroundings. Is there a tiger? Like I have to talk to myself as a kid sometimes. Like, there's no tiger, honey. Like, it's okay. Just calm down. So nervous system, as you mentioned, like it's an amazing thing to work through.
I do have a question here. We can listen to our mind and the thoughts that are going through our heads so easily. How do you tell the difference between the thoughts that are going through your head, um, being just the thoughts, and picking up everyday thoughts versus your intuition and those thoughts?
Mhm. So we touched a bit about this when I was answering the question on the anxiousness bit. So the best part about intuition is it will not come when you're in movement. It will come when you're still. It's a very feminine, very strong, like it's strong and it's soft at the same time. Like that little voice behind, like it's almost like it's almost like God talking to you. And sometimes people, when they connect to their intuition, they're like, I don't know where this is coming from. And I would not do this because it's the perception you have of yourself is your mental thought. And once you slow down, you actually connect to everything around you. Like from our minds, we are connected, yes, but the wisdom of the body, that is so deep. And nervous system plays a big part in it. Your intuition plays a big part in it. So once we can settle down, maybe take some deep breaths, lie down, walk in on the grass. Like walking is very good for me. Like personally, that's one of the favorite things. And once you can slow down, ask the question again. Like, is this something that calls me forward? What decision shall I take about it? If you're going through jobs, so it's like, shall I go for this job, or like, what is my soul calling me to do? How do I want to show up? So just slowing down and listening, you can identify. Like that's a quiet voice, but the fear is like, and there's a very good distinction. Fear always creates urgency. Your intuition will not create urgency. Your intuition will not be like, okay, that deadline is tomorrow, let's just do it. No, it will be like, be fully in your decision, be fully grounded. It will happen no matter what. But the fear will be like, okay, I need to get this job, let's just do it. So that rush, that anxiety, like that's always the fear. That's the mind saying, if I don't follow these XYZ logical steps, I will not get to my goal.
Yeah.
But if you're really into spiritual stuff, if you really believe in the power of the universe and if moving around, taking some time is a really good thing, because you'll take quantum leaps that would never ever be possible without that force.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. We have to come back, listen to our bodies, listen to our intuition, actually pause and say, ask, yesterday I sat with meditation music playing, and I closed my eyes and I'm like, what do I want 2025 to look like? I've been talking to myself. I talk to myself a lot. I've been talking to myself all week, saying, how can I do this differently? I know what I'm fed up of seeing, and I know what I'm fed up of doing. And I've been asking, how can I do this differently? What does that look like? And in that time yesterday, I think I sat in here for an hour, and I just was writing stuff out as it came through. And my whole 2025 is fucking amazing. I'm gonna say that. Like, what is coming is so amazing, and it feels so much more aligned than these traditional things that we've been doing to grow our businesses. And I'm like, this is it. And when you take that step back, I could have been in fear yesterday. I am in the middle of a program launch, and I've got something else going on, and I could have been like, okay, I don't get to take that time to just pause. I have to do. But it's not in what you are doing, it's in who you are being, and being able to take that step back and just listen, but ask the questions, because your mind wants to tell you the answers. Your subconscious wants to step in and say, look, like, this is what we need to do, but you don't take the time to actually step back and listen to it. And there's so much power in that stepping back and actually listening to what is trying to come through.
Yeah. I feel like I'm learning so much from you right now.
I am a nerd when it comes to mindset work and trusting your body, asking the questions, all of those things. Like, that's where I really geek out. I am sitting reading Joe Dispenza's book again. Like, it's one of my favorite things to learn about because we're always evolving as humans in what we do, but we still get so caught up in the hustle of doing that we forget we have to be, and we have to listen. And we can get caught up, especially in the online space, when it comes to our businesses, of doing things XYZ, this way, this way, this way, because that's what everyone else is doing. Well, that shit does not feel good for me, and I've been saying it, and yet I'm doing it. And I'm like, you don't create change doing the same things you've always done. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm launching and doing the same thing I've always done, and I'm getting the same fucking result. Why am I getting the same fucking result? Because I'm not doing things differently, and it doesn't feel good. So when we can actually take that step back and ask, what would feel good about, what it is I'm creating, and having, I have the bigger picture. I know where it is I'm going. It's the, how am I going to get there in a way that feels good, and I actually want to show up. It's in those questions, in those moments when we step back and ask the questions and listen, clear our minds. A lot of people turn to yoga and working out to quiet the mind. And in that, it is so important because we can go through not quieting the mind and being stuck in all of the thoughts. And a lot of that is our conditioning. So when we can actually quiet the mind and listen to what is being said to us in the questions that we are asking, there's so much power in there. I'm going to just bring up this question. Stepping back makes me feel guilty. I try to be quiet and still, and that guilt of doing nothing creeps in. Although my subconscious is guiding me, I'm even seeing the Almighty in my dreams. So again, the stepping back making you feel guilty is a what's the word I'm looking for? Conditioning. That's the word I'm looking for. It's conditioning. You have been conditioned to, we all have, that actually pausing is a bad thing because we've been conditioned that we have to be in the hustle all of the time. And it's doing things differently and leaning into, I get to do things differently. That is something that I repeat. I feel guilty all of the time, especially leaving a toxic relationship where I was expected to be doing all of the things all the time. The house was always supposed to be clean. Dishes always had to be done. Kids always had to be taken care of. If there was if my ex would go like this and there was dust on his finger, I was in shit. So for me, I was always on. I was always, what's he going to come home to and yell at me for next? And I was never able to actually pause without feeling guilty. And it's in learning, yesterday, I love to, share my examples and how I do things because it resonates with a lot of people. But yesterday I took my computer and I sat on the couch. And I had some moments where I would just close my eyes because I was tired, and I don't feel guilty for it. Now, I do still have moments where I'm like, oh shit, like the floors look disgusting. I've got to clean them. And they're really not that bad. But my mind still goes back to, in those moments of being in that relationship, where if there was anything, I was in shit. So I was walking on eggshells. And it's learning to recognize those thoughts and just take that pause and be like, okay, am I actually doing something wrong by taking that step back? Or is this conditioning that is from experience of what I'm used to, how things are perceived they are supposed to be, if that makes sense. So it's like moving through the guilt is exactly that. It's taking that pause to say, should I actually feel guilty for this? Or is that just, conditioning, social conditioning that is making me feel guilty? And just asking yourself those questions in that moment. I hope that made some sense.
It does. I also feel that as women, we are biologically almost programmed to take care of everyone, but then with all this programming, like we are programmed that that is the only value that we have. If we don't do that, we have no value. So we're also trying to prove ourselves and prove our value and worth through doing, and not taking the time to nourish our own cups to just be in the feminine flow and just
And
rest
in
and
that, I agree. As women, it is in our nature to nurture. Like, it is already. I was actually up the other morning way too fucking early, but a talk show was on, and I'm like, oh, I'm tuning into this because it was a mom speaking of her experiences. And as when you have a baby, your brain is actually chemically wired differently after having that baby. And I was so fascinated by this episode because it is so true. And it is in our nature to nurture. It is built into us. And at the same time, we use that as I'm good enough if I do this, this,
mm,
this, and this. But then we're still not appreciated and respected 90% of the time for all of the things we do, because everyone still has a problem with it. If you're a stay-at-home mom, well, you're not contributing to the house, even though your day is 24/7. Like, your job is 24/7. It doesn't end. If you are a working mom, well, now you're not taking care of your kids, so you're not good enough because you should be home taking care of your kids. Like, we can never be enough for someone else. So we have to be enough for ourselves and be happy with what our life looks like for us.
mm.
I'm going to read this. I can say that higher power, God, universe, is getting out of its way to reassure me again and again, even if I'm not trusting myself. And you're going to repeat. So here's the thing. And I can share this experience. You're going to repeat the same cycles and patterns until you learn the fucking lesson. My
Mm.
experience
I
for
can,
a
I can attest to that.
for a very long time, I would ask while I was in this relationship. I'm going to share a story because I didn't listen to it. I asked universe, what do I need to do? Should I stay or should I leave? And about 2 days later, my ex and I had a very big fight. He smashed my phone into pieces. He also proceeded to smash my iPad into pieces in front of my kids. So sorry if this is a lot for you guys, but this is a true story. I asked for a sign and I got my fucking sign, and I still didn't listen. In that moment, he also took I left. It was dinner time. So I grabbed my kids, grabbed my dog, who you guys often see in my videos and in my show, and we left. And then I realized he took my debit card, he took my credit card out of my wallet while I was getting the kids out the door. And that was my fucking sign. Not only the smashing of my things, but the way he was talking afterwards, taking my cards so I couldn't even go buy them dinner. That was my fucking sign. And I didn't listen. So guess what? I got to repeat the pattern over and over until I listened, because you can ask for the signs, but unless you're ready to move through it and trust yourself to get to this other side, which I can tell you right now, it is really fucking amazing over here, out of that toxic situation, you're going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. And, being in that toxic situation, that was not even the worst of it. It got worse and it got worse until I finally fucking listened.
Wow, that's quite a story, I'll say I'm so proud of you for doing that. Like you're such an inspiration to all the women out there in toxic relationships. Thank you so much.
It's a hard step, and it's hard to share sometimes, but I started the show because these pieces need to be shared so that other women can see, hey, I am not alone in this. And that's why I share a lot of my experience, because I felt alone. No one understood. But again, all of these pieces that I really do nerd out on have brought all these experiences together for me so that I can come on here and share. And yeah, you are going to be given the same pattern over and over and over until you decide you're ready to break it. Your story. Let's hear your story.
I feel like we need to take a breath. It's been so like there's been so much moving. I can see you're a bit emotional. So do you want a moment to ground?
Yeah, I do get very emotional, and I'm very open in a lot of my centers, so I do need that moment to ground. I'm good.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's move forward. So my story, there are many facets to my story, but when you were saying about the signs, oh my God, I do remember, and this is very vivid memory. I was in a relationship which was okay, like it's good on paper. We were kind of in a long distance during the pandemic. We were together for a very long time. It was almost 9 years with this person, and I I thought at 16 this was going to be my happy ever after. This was the man I'm going to marry. This is the man I'm going to have kids with. And I don't know how many times I got the signs like, okay, something is off, something is off. And then one day I was on my terrace, I was doing my meditation. It was evening, and I was just sitting and I started crying because they just said, like, my spirit guides just came through and they said, let him go. And it is almost like, you're sitting down and you have a parent and they're just looking at you. This is a very bad habit. You have to let it go. You're having a tantrum, you're crying it out.
Yeah.
And I feel in that moment I realized how much of me I had lost in that relationship. And at that time, I had just started with sharing the story online. I was writing newsletters, I was writing some personal stuff, which he knew like who I'm talking about because we talked about everything and we had no boundaries. And I just realized I was so different since that 16-year-old version of me who thought this is everything. In my mind, I was like, this is it. This is the guy you marry. And then I got to know I am such a wild, passionate woman. I want more out of life. I don't want to picket fence, that kind of life. I want more. I want someone who wants to grow with me. I want someone I can grow old with, like grow in the sense of literal word, like go on adventures, try new things, break out of our jobs, and just enjoy life and not think like, okay, this is the safety net and we have to play in the small, we have to play in the box. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
So that day when I sat in the meditation, I asked for a sign. Like, I think I might have asked a while back, and that was my sign. My sign was very subtle. But over time, there were so many arguments. There was this one conversation on spirituality because he's an atheist. He was an atheist. I don't know what his belief system is right now, but he was asking like, why do you believe in all this spirituality stuff? What does it even mean? Why is it even real? Like all of my fears being thrown back at me by this man. And I was trying to explain him via questions, like what he thinks, and then we can workshop out something together rather than just saying this is my definition and you break it down and you tell me. So instead of that, I was asking him question and he was like, anyway, this is fake. Why are you talking to me about all this? And I said, you know what? One day I'm going to be a special teacher, whether you're okay with it or not. And I think after that fight, we didn't talk for a couple of days. And after 11 days, he texted me, like, aren't you gonna message me back? And I'm like, no, couldn't you? And that was the day I realized if I could live without you for 11 days, I could probably live longer.
Yeah. Yeah, and it feels when you know what it is that you want to create and where you're going, those smaller energies just don't, they're like, you're like, I'm okay without you. I don't need you. I know where I'm going. And it is, ugh. I have set some big goals for next year, and I am so excited for where it is that I am going and now what I get to create. I want to travel. Like, I want to see the world. I want to do things differently. And I've decided, every month I want to travel somewhere new.
Mm.
And I've set my life up that I get to do this now, right? We get to do the things that we want to do if we can open up and believe that we don't have to fit inside of a box. And that's where really opening up to your intuition and trusting and learning to rewire your thoughts and your mindset to trust that intuition, to trust where it is guiding you, and to trust that there is something bigger for all of us, except a lot of people do not have that trust and are not willing to see things outside of the box. They want to stay in what is comfortable. So for those of us who are ready to listen, to open up and step outside of that box and outside of the comfort zone, we get to experience an amazing life.
Yeah, and especially like the point where you said, I think a bit earlier that trusting in the intuition is about trusting in ourselves and building that self-trust is the way to go. And that's like that's the basic thing. You need to be able to trust yourself that you will have your back, you will support yourself no matter what's next. I'm getting so much no matter what's next, I can back myself.
Yeah.
And that starts with small things. Like if you promise yourself I'm gonna meditate for 2 minutes, just follow through that. You don't have to meditate for 2 hours. Just start with small things and build that confidence, build that trust within yourself, and automatically and with law of attraction, even the law of attraction is so mainstream and abused right now, but with that things will start coming up because when you trust yourself, people will not be able to gaslight or manipulate you, and those people will get bored. Like
Yeah.
that's the truth. When someone knows that you are able to trust yourself, they will not fight with you. Like I have not lost, but I have come out of so many situations where people were manipulating me, but as soon as I developed that self trust, everything shifted. So yeah, like I really like the point that you brought up.
Yeah. And it's being able to build that trust in yourself, um, to step out of the box and trust your intuition.
Mm.
Yeah. I have absolutely loved this episode. And I've loved the interaction. It has been so fulfilling for me. So I would like to end there just because it has been such a great conversation. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing these pieces with us. I am going to link your information in the caption so that everyone can reach out to you if they are feeling pulled to learn more about you and what you do and connect with you here on Instagram. And this goes over to Facebook, this goes over to YouTube, it goes everywhere. So thank you so much for joining me today and having this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. And I truly enjoyed getting to even know you and learn from you. This was equally fulfilling for me too. So thank you so much.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you guys for watching in. As always, if you are catching the replay, be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. If you have anything that you want to join in and say, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We will reply to you. That's what we are here for, to have these conversations. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.